you and I have really connected over this because I'm fascinated about your upbringing as a Jehovah Witness, and I am Christian still, which is kind of bonkers, but I've definitely really like embraced it and sort of like I do with comedy, like define what it is for me. And so it's always been like a part, I think, of the work I've done and in other solo shows and stuff, but I'm definitely leaning into it a little more in this new show that I'm working on, because I just wasn't, sometimes I'm just not inspired to just keep doing like shorter sets over and over. I want to do a bigger piece. And so this one's about my like struggle with faith when my mom passed away, which we're coming up on. August will be 2 years since my mom passed, and we were just like so close, and it was just really sudden and tragic. And after, you know, being such like an energetic, like happy person and a comedian while that's happening is hard enough, but then I have this layer of like my faith and being like, oh, God's my best friend, but he murdered my mom. It's like, it's just like, it's really grappling with like what really, for the first time, having to like really question everything. It's like everything, what happens after you die, and all my beliefs that I have believed in, I've never had to question until this happened. And then it was really, it's just been a wild thing. So that's what the show is about that I'm working on currently.
So did you like turn your back on it for a second? Did you feel like God betrayed you? Did you feel like I have a close relationship with God, everybody that I love will be safe because that's, you know, I've given him my devotion, so he will protect my loved ones?
Yeah. It's fucked up because it's like, it's the argument like, look, like organized religion is so, obviously, it's so divisive. There are a million things wrong with it. It's like corrupt in a lot of ways, but I'm not as pro religion as I am pro like God and like a relationship with like a higher power. I think a lot of people have it. They just call it like the universe or like karma or like whatever. It has all these different names. But yeah, I was really mad at him, and I'm still really mad at him. Like I used to pray all the time. And it's funny because even like my sisters, like I've always prayed, and my mom and I really connected with that. So like I would think, you know, if God forbid something happens to my mom, like I'm still able to talk to her, you know, because I believe in that. But I have not at all. I have been unable to pray and talk to my mom like that, because it's like I'm so used to like having this channel be for God, and now this channel's to my mom, but that's like not, I can't connect with that. I don't know from that. And also it's just like, yeah, it's made me question everything. I was just mad at him. It was the whole like, it's not fair. And it's the whole argument of like, you know, it's the same thing with, is there a God when children get sick and die? Like it's these terrible things, and how do you justify it? And I don't know how. And I think it's just like looking for these answers that like, you know, there are no answers to.
Yeah.
But it just rattles you. Like I think I just had the feeling of, I think the most upsetting, if I'm being totally honest, the most upsetting thing amongst all this was thinking like, just praying that heaven is real and my mom is there, and not thinking like, is that just something we tell ourselves to feel better? That's the hardest thing to me to grapple with, is like the thought that like when you die, is it just over? That is still like really hard to think about. It's heavy stuff. And this is a comedy show, which is bonkers. Like I find a way to like, you know, make it funny, but it's heavy. It's really heavy. And I know, it's fucking heavy. And I appreciate you, Doug, because obviously you have your story is so like your show is so good, and I love your when you talk about your experiences, but I appreciate that you've never in our friendship made me feel like silly or dumb to believe in something that I know you don't, and I
Well,
appreciate that.
yeah, I genuinely believed in the silliest, dumbest shit you could possibly believe in. For a number of years. I think I started to really kind of
Yeah.
question things once I hit my teen years, but I was successfully brainwashed for quite a while, But it took me
Yeah.
leaving, so when I left, and I it sucks that you joined the dead parent club, but my mom died when I was 17 very suddenly, and that also made me question everything that I had been taught, because
Yeah.
I too, like, my mom had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. She got diagnosed when I was 13, and I used to pray every day, like, please don't let my mom die. Please don't let my mom die. And then that wasn't what killed her. She had a brain aneurysm out of nowhere. And so, like, when that happened, knowing that I had been praying, pleading, trying to maintain this close relationship with Jehovah, and then that happened, you feel betrayed. You feel completely
Yes.
betrayed. And, like, what was all that for?
Or,
So
exactly.
I very much I kind of already had one foot out the door, and then when that happened, I was like, well, fuck this. I don't owe this guy shit, you know. But it took
Yep.
me. I'm 20 years out now, and it took me this much time really to be able to see other people's belief systems, especially Christian beliefs, the way they view Jesus, the way they view, because you believe that Jesus is God, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Jehovah's Witnesses believe in that God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are three completely different things.
And it's wild because all of these faiths that are sometimes like at war with each other are not all that different at all.
Yeah.
Like they're all so similar. It's like I have a friend who's Muslim who just, and I didn't realize this, and maybe this is a little ignorant on my part because I haven't done a ton of digging into other faiths as much as my own, but we had this amazing discussion, and he believes in everything with the Bible and that Jesus was a real person, but all the kind of magical stuff, like after he rose from the dead, is where they stop. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, that never happened. So they believe in essentially a lot of the same things, but minus like the magic, which makes sense, But it
Right.
is funny how similar a lot of it is. But yeah, I get it. But you're like, what's it all for? I just think that this sounds so meta, and it's not like profound, but it's like we as humans want answers to things. We want to know why, but we never will.
Yeah.
We never will. We can't. There are things that are outside our comprehension. Nobody like why bad things happen all the time, and
Yeah.
there is no reason. And that's the thing that's been like really interesting too. Is like if you believe everything happens for a reason, and why? How can anyone who has lost anyone they love believe everything happens for a reason?
What good reason can you find to back that up? But like my whole thing when I left was like, all religion is bad across the board. It's all corrupt. It's all manipulative, and everybody's brainwashed. So I had to completely turn a blind eye to everything. And now, as of recently, I'm one of those people that does that has been able to take comfort in not thinking of God as like this benevolent higher power, or this being that's, in Jehovah's Witness depictions, God is like this bearded spirit creature above the clouds. And now it took me a long time to like kind of erase that from my mind. So I am one of those people that believes in, the universe and just energy. And when you die, that energy
Yeah.
is channeled back into the universe, has to go. I don't know if it's reincarnation, but that energy can't just disappear. And that has been comforting to me in a
Yeah.
way, to know that we're like such tiny specks of dust in the grand scheme of things, and there's billions of years before us, billions of years after our
Yeah.
existence, we're so insignificant. I actually take comfort in that. Like, I watch a documentary about space and I'm like, oh, thank God.
Me too.
Nothing I do matters. I can barf on YouTube every day for the rest of my life and it doesn't fucking matter.
That is the most I feel I've connected to you in conversation, because I could not agree more. It's so comforting because we make things such a big deal. The stakes are so high for ourselves in our heads. And I love being minimized. I love when someone's like, it's not a big deal. Like, that's all I want to hear about anything ever. When it comes to my wedding day, when it comes to anything, I don't like expectations and it's a big deal. That's too overwhelming. So I agree with you completely. I love space.
Right? Yeah.
The solar system.
So
it's
comforting.
Like, yes.
And honestly, on a smaller scale, that's why I love living in New York City. As much as I curse it to the heavens every day, fuck this filthy shithole, I think there's an anonymity that is very comforting to me.
I completely agree.
Like, nobody gives a shit. You're out on the street. You're just one of millions.
No one cares.
Yeah.
No one fucking cares. And you're never going to be like the most something where you are. Because it's New York City. Even if you're having the worst day of your life, you're crying hysterically, you're puking on the sidewalk, there's somebody else doing that. You're not even the worst person on the street doing that. Yeah. And if you're having a great day, people are having better days. I love that middle ground.
Right?
That's where I want to live. It's where I'm comfortable. I agree with you completely. The city's good for that. It's good because it's the physical representation of being little in a big place. It's like, of course we live here. We're little. Yeah. We live in New York City, and that's really funny and interesting. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a smaller scale of space in a way. We're one of like billions of stars.
We sound
we're
like
so
we're
insignificant. We really do.